at which you start planning to tax a commodity like coffee, especially from down there.
It's intellectually engaging.
The Constitution provides that the land must be registered under the customer tenure system, which is one of those that's recognized by the Constitution.
Ground Zero Season 2, live and syndicated on your public and national broadcaster, UBC, inspiring Uganda. Welcome to Ground Zero Season 2, a show that brings you in-depth discussion ranging from politics, health.
Don't miss UBC Radio Ground Zero every Saturday from 10 a.m. to 12 p.m. We host credible and relevant guests to discuss pertinent issues of national importance aimed at addressing people's concerns.
As a country, if we don't fight this vice of corruption seriously and with honest opinion without any bias, things will not be good for us.
UBC Radio Ground Zero, right here on UBC Radio.
UBC, ensure that the information you give out is factual but also objective, balanced, and complies with the legal and policy requirements for the media.
Ground Zero program is always live, loud and clear, every Saturday from 10 a.m. to 12 p.m. on UBC Radio, Butebo FM, West Nile FM, and Magic 100 FM, and live stream on YouTube. You can also listen to the repeated broadcast of UBC Ground Zero every Sunday from 3 p.m. to 5 p.m. UBC Radio, inspiring Uganda.
Welcome to Ground Zero Season 2, a show that brings you in-depth discussion ranging from politics, health, finance, sports, and so much more. Ground Zero Season 2.
Hello, the people of Uganda. I welcome you to this edition of UBC Ground Zero, and I welcome you from Sizzling Breakfast with my brother Philip. And I welcome you to our edition of UBC Ground Zero today. And we are on 5 radio stations covering entire Uganda, and we're also streaming live on YouTube. You just enter UBC Radio, and you'll be part of the conversation. And today's engaging talk, I'm your host, Amon Ampaide, I'm Butega. I'm thrilled to dive into a topic that resonates deeply with many families and educators in Uganda. We're going to be talking about balancing fun and learning during school holidays as our topic. And this is so much into school holidays. We're talking about you holiday makers who are much anticipated into a break for all of you who are students, offering a welcome despite from a routine of classes. You are used to classrooms and teaching and learning and exams and many others, and we are here to give that right balance between leisure and education activities that can be challenged to some of the parents, some of the teachers, some of the students, and we are going to be navigating into this very important topic today. We'll explore more the responsibilities, the roles that families, that education institutions can create in enriching experiences that are both enjoyable and beneficial to all of us. Joining us is a very diverse group of experts that are here with us in the studios of UBC to shed light on this important topic. We have a privilege and honor to have in the studios of UBC Godfrey Busobozi, who is the National Chairperson, Coalition of Uganda Private School Teachers Association. A privilege having you on this edition, sir.
Thank you so much, Amoni, for the warm introduction. And good morning, listeners outside there. We are happy to be in the studios of UBC. Fasten your belts as you listen to a very fun-making program as we learn.
Interesting. We also have a privilege to have Winnie Akido, who is the certified children's play best teacher from a Global Fund for Children. Welcome, Akido.
Thank you so much, Mr. Amon, for that warm introduction. Listeners, we are privileged and humbled to be with you today. I encourage everyone, if you have a notebook, take notes, because we are going to be discussing a lot of important things today. Thank you.
That is encouraging. You've had studios, and you can tell the direction that we're taking, but also the speed that we're going to be moving on. Get so close to your radio and be part of today's educative and inspiring program that is targeting the holiday makers. We're going to be communicating to families, talking to parents, caretakers, caregivers, teachers, education institutions, and so many others. That is our topic. Balancing fun and learning during school holidays is going to be our topic today. And you've heard from Godfrey Sovozi, who comes from that coalition of private teachers, who is going to be helping us to shed more light onto the role of private schools in integrating learning and fun. We'll also hear from those who are in children play stations like Kido has mentioned, and we're going to be sharing valuable tips on how to play, how play can enhance learning during those holidays, our parent representatives, and so many others. We are live on UBC radio in Kampala, Nile Avenue, Nakasero Hill on 98.0 FM. If you are in Arua, we are 97.4 FM. In case you are in Lida, we are 99.4 FM. We're also live and clear on another radio station in Butebo. That is Butebo Radio. In case you are in Mbare, we are 96.9 FM. In case you are in Soroti, we are 98.4 FM. We are also live and clear on West Nile Radio, right in the heart of Arua City, on 98.0 FM. That covers Teso Sub-region, Lango Sub-region, Acholi and Karamoja sub-regions. And we're also live and clear on Majukwan 100 FM here in Kampala, covering all central parts of this country. For those in south and western Uganda, we are on Voice of Bundbujo. And this program is always there on Sunday as a repeat from 3 p.m. to 5 p.m. and also on Monday on Voice of Bundbujo. You've heard from my guest in the studios, and also the topic is the one we're going to be sharing today. 776-511-426 is the number you can call in case you want to participate in this program. Raise any concern, share your perspective, or any question that my guests can answer. Bosowozi, balancing fun and learning. But before we go into our topic, perhaps you can educate us about the coalition you lead.
Thank you so much. Before we go to the fun and learning, which we cannot distinguish from what you have asked me, it is one and the same, it is intertwined. The Coalition of Uganda Private School Teachers Association is a coalition which brings together all teachers who teach in private schools in this country called Uganda. So our coalition is a voice for the teachers. We do advocacy and we champion the human rights approach for the teachers in the teaching fraternity, specifically within the private sector. We also act as a bridge, especially between the private sector of education and the government of Uganda, particularly to do with issues of policy, to do with issues of reforms, such that both sectors move at the same lens to make sure that what is done in the public schools is exactly what is being done in the private schools. There are challenges in there, but we try to bridge the gap such that the teacher who is teaching in the private school gets the same information like the teacher who is teaching in the public school. Because when you are aware, and listeners outside there, that when government is planning, it plans as government. And the private schools do not teach private children, they teach children of the country. But the ownership of those schools are in the hands of the private people. So we see to it that these schools, whereas they are private, but they should continue giving a public good within the stipulated framework of the provision of education as a service in the country. However, our major focus entirely lies on the teacher, because we want to have a better teacher in the private sector. we also act as a voice for this teacher in the private sector to address the challenges that these teachers face, and we see to it that we mediate, we bring sanity, we cause peace and harmony, such that we can move together as one entity called the teaching fraternity. Same time, because I said earlier on, we do advocacy, so we see to it that we amplify their concerns, such that the powers that be should be in a position to hear what the teacher's plight is, the one who is teaching in the private school. And we also give advice to the government, such that as they are developing these policies, as they are doing reforms, we get involved and we see to it that we balance the boat, if I'm to use that saying. Back to the fun. We need to understand, why do children go to school? All of us, we are here speaking a foreign language. And this foreign language which we are using on the airwaves of UBC is referred to as the English language. And fortunately, the three of us here now in these UBC studios went to school and paid a lot of money to learn this language. And in Uganda, speaking English is synonymous with somebody who went to school. Now, when you're in school, they put you through rigorous activities which condition you to conform within the stipulated means of what is expected of you to be at the end of the day, to become a good citizen for the country. Now, of late, things have changed, but I will take you a little bit at the onslaught when we started the education. Education, of course, we know historically it was introduced by the missionaries, and specifically it was to do with the colonial government getting clerical officers, people to work in their offices. And the missionaries wanted people who would be able to read the Bible and also write a few letters here and there, and then they are able to do a lot of conversion, to convert other followers. Over time, we got independence, reforms have been made, and we are moving well. So the assumption had been that a learner should be in school from 8 o'clock and leave at 3:30 to go home. But in between, have a break of 30 minutes, have a break of 1 hour, and another break of 30 minutes in the evening before this child goes back home. And those who were between 6 years and 8 were only meant to be at school from 8 o'clock to 1 o'clock, and they go home. Now, the kind of teaching and learning process was meant to be fun learning and fun teaching, such that as the child is learning, it is fun. As the teacher is teaching, it is fun. So the teaching and learning process was supposed to be fun, because the adage goes, work without play makes Godfrey a dull man. So in this aspect, therefore, that's why we used to have those breaks, and even within the teaching, there used to be fun, because so that you would enjoy what you are doing, and the learning takes place with ease. But as I said in my preamble, now a lot of things happened, changes have taken place in the education sector. One, the policy of privatization gave birth to so many private schools coming up at all levels. Because in Uganda today, the whole pre-primary sector is within the hands of the private schools, of the private sector, which you commonly refer to as nursery schools. All of them, none is government. Now, when you look at the provision of education today as a service for secondary schools, there are more private schools than there are of public schools. Even now, the primary, I think, is almost catching up. I don't have the statistics offhand. So you realize that because of these changes which have come up a long time, even the teaching learning process has equally changed. Now, schools shifted from fun learning, and teachers also shifted from fun teaching, and it became a do or die matter. The focus is to pass exams. You children study and pass exams. When you're undisciplined, get a stick from the corner, cane, whip. And I have had an interaction with the teachers before the corporal punishment was banned in schools. One of them told me there was hieroglyphics which was written in Egypt, found in the early caves, that the ears of an African boy are
found
on his buttocks. He hears only when beaten. And then the other one also told me, if I am a Christian, the Bible clearly tells us, spare the rod
and spoil
the child. So that is why they use the stick. So because the fun went on dwindling, and we shifted to academics. Children study to pass exams. Schools went cutting off what we call co-curricular activities. Games and sports disappeared. Handwork disappeared. Music, dance, and drama disappeared. And children got confined in brick and mortar given spaces. Under the classroom, under instructions. And the dominant factor became don't. So it became a one way. The teacher became the source of knowledge, and the child became the receiver of the knowledge from the teacher who knows it all. So consequently, the fun went on dwindling. So people started studying, and they studied to pass exams. People got a lot of stress. Children of nursery schools, you see them at 5 o'clock in the morning. They are sleeping in the vans. They are going to school to study. The ones of the primary school, they see them struggling even when they reach home. There is no fun. They have a lot of homework. So it became a real serious matter. Now, the only fun that was left, which we call a safety valve, was the holiday. Because schools get breaks. Every term, we have a term break. But unfortunately, even this term break gets encroached upon. The teachers still teach during the holidays. So the fun went on becoming more and more limited. This has had a serious impact until of recent, when the government of Uganda has had to do reforms in the curriculum, both for primary and the secondary, to change the way the teaching and learning has been taking place, because the children's fun has become very limited. And therefore, the learning cannot be as it should have been, because it is not organic. It becomes artificial. So you will realize that I don't want to sound an alarm because I'm on a national broadcaster, but you will find that now our group of people who studied that period which I have discussed are more or less like programmed human beings. So they can't innovate very easily. They can't blend with ease in society. They are very apprehensive. They hold back. So you see, that is why now you hear they are talking about the Gen Z. This Gen Z generation basically this is the period how they have been taught. For them, they are
The
very
conditioned generation.
yes,
Programmed.
So, yes, they are very, very impatient people, and they think very fast, and they want it now and now. And
Is now or never.
It's now. So they have, you see, all what has caused this is because they had.
And you think that comes from the kind of education system that we have?
Yes, it is. There is no doubt about it. Because it is how they have been conditioned, and including the generation change. So when you get all these factors, combine them from a social perspective, that is what brings about that. Because they have limited fun. For them, their fun is totally different. I don't want to say a lot of things to divulge into the social issues. Take, for instance, today, if you are to look at the music world, I don't know if this is still music or it is something else. What messages are being sent to the world? Look at the kind of dances. Because now, if there is no nudity in a dancing, in a performance,
then it is not.
Then it is not. And what is the cause of all this? It goes back to socialization. Because education, the school was supposed to be a continuous area of socialization. Home, school, school, back home. But now, because of all these distortions which I have discussed, you have now the issue of the boarding school, you have the issue of no break, you have the issue of absent parenthood. So you have a whole that our fun and learning disappears through the window.
Interesting. I'll get back to you. So, Bosi, allow me bring in Kido. What do you do, and how are you cooperating these two, balancing fun and also learning when it comes to our children in this country?
Thank you, Mr. Hammond, for this wonderful opportunity. Now, I'm once again Akido Winnie from the Book Drive Store. It's a literacy development company that focuses on publishing and production of play-based material for children's learning. So we have a production center that makes toys, numeracy and literacy toys and games. And we also have a publishing house that publishes children's books, African-related storybooks. Yes, so I won't go so much into that. Back to our topic of today, balancing fun with education. I would like to say that I'm going to talk about this, but also bring in the element of work and learning, because as we are approaching holidays, or some people have already begun holidays, much as there is the fun, but there is also work, because we have students right now who are going to be working instead of having the fun, because of the imbalances we have in the country, money-wise and so on. We have students who are actually paying for themselves school fees and so on. We know that some of them are going to be working. So if I happen to touch that area as well, play along. So how we can incorporate fun with learning during holiday? I usually tell teachers and students when I'm talking to them, when I go to the schools out there, that a good teacher should be able to know when a child is about to lose concentration. I'm saying this because the previous speaker, my colleague, Mr. Godfrey, mentioned something of holiday teaching, which is true. It's very true that schools have started that, which is good, but everything has pros and cons, of course. So how we can get a balance is we don't say do away with the teaching, that strict kind of teaching, because at some point it's necessary. But as you do the teaching, you should be able to identify psychologically that this child or this student is about to lose focus, and devise means of bringing them back. I know that children have a short attention span, Especially I deal with children of 2 to 12 years because that is my expertise. Those are the kinds of children I deal with, and I've somehow learned their psychology and how to deal with them. So I'm going to focus so much on that age, but also tackle a bit the older ages because children are children. So
how do you occupy them?
Pardon?
How do you occupy that age bracket of children that you deal with?
How do I occupy them? I may not have understood the occupy so well, but
how do you engage them, especially when they're holidays?
Okay. So this is what we do. We have a program. It's called a Holiday Books Boot Camp, where we have a session with the children to just boost their love for reading. And in this, we have activities that entail studying, but also learning. For example, we can have thematic days and say maybe this Saturday we are having books and ice cream, books and farming. For example, we have books that we make. We have a book entitled Soil and Water. So if in case we have read a book concerning soil and water, we are trying to educate the children about soil conservation, the different activities entailed in it, how food is produced and so on. We visit a farm, a nearby farm, and have them do it practically, engage with the soil and stuff like that. So they are having fun playing around, but it's affiliated or attached with a book that they have read. And then we have different concepts that we are trying to bring up. For example, computational literacy. It's the use of robotics to use in storytelling and try to, let me say, increase the attention span of the child, because children that age, 2 to 12, usually lose focus after like a period of 5 minutes. You find them, they diverting. So what we do, not to make them lose focus in the stories and what you're teaching them, you bring in an element of robots, telling the story using robots and moving it, programming it. I wish we were on TV, I would have shown you, sorry. But since we're on radio, I'll just bring in some highlights of how the robot works and so on. So we have a storybook and a map where we draw the photos in the story, and we want the child to relate to the story that they have read using the pictures and moving the robot to the different places. We call them picture books usually for that age. Far from that, we also have the different apps that we have made. For example, we have the Soma app.
Where do you get the robots? How do you make sure that these are for this age and these are for this age group?
Oh, okay. So how we get the robots, some of them we manufacture at our production center.
Here in Uganda?
Yeah, here in Uganda. It's
you
located
manufacture
in
those toys?
Zambia. Yes.
Okay.
Yes, we have a production center.
What guides you in production, especially to know that considering the context of Uganda and also the people that we're dealing with, especially children in Makindi or children in Masaka, may have different backgrounds. What guides you to produce different those robotics or toys that you mentioned? Because the toys that are used in USA may not be the same that we need here.
Okay, we work with communities. Now, the production center that I'm talking about right now is in Zambia community. It's a slum area where we are. So we are aware that we have differences in the regions. So what guides us is that we have they are tailored, the robots are tailored to fit the different levels. When we are in Zambia community and we are in a community like Namuongo, they have the same toys that we use to make them easily understandable. Because we are aware that other societies are advanced, because we usually have sessions with those children, the illiterate children and so on, of high class, they are also different, because we know these are things that are not new to them.
Okay.
So with the societies like Zambia and Namongo and other slums, it's more of the basics.
Okay.
So just bring in basics.
How about the books that guide you in these learning activities? Where do you get them?
The books are written by an author. We have an author. She's called Margot Hasfa.
Here in Uganda?
Yes, she's a local author. She's a Ugandan.
Okay.
But also the difference in our books is that they are different and unique, in that they advocate and speak for special needs children. They are not normal books, because we have books like Chioma. Chioma is born with vitiligo, so we portray her character in the book as a special child, but also can live with the rest normally. Then we have characters like Lisa. It's a football book. She's born with albinism, but we portray her as a football champion, because society says those people can't stay in the sun for long. So that's just the inspiration that we have that makes us stand out and makes us unique. Okay. We are trying to educate the children from an early age that such people are there in society, and this is how to go about it when you meet them and treat them.
Akido, I am glad that you are doing that in Uganda, but to a parent that is listening to us right now, perhaps in Arua City, they may not be able to bring their children to your station, but they would love to engage and occupy their children in their respective homes. What advice would you give them? Especially, what are some of the evidence-based strategies that parents can use at home to keep their children engaged in learning during the holidays? Are there specific activities or games that they have proven particularly effective, especially in Uganda?
Okay, to our parents in the rural areas and the different areas that cannot access us, we have activities like spelling relays, where you yourself as a parent can actually participate. When I talk about a spelling relay, it's like a game. You can even have it as a family. You can have like 2 children, make them stand in front of a corner in the house, and then have the rest of the family stand behind them and whisper a word. So the word starts from behind and goes in front to the last person. The last person writes the word on a board or somewhere on the wall. That's a spelling relay to see if they know how to spell the word. And in so doing, in case they get the word wrong, you correct them. That is just one example. The other thing is we have common games like okwepena. In English, we call it dodgeball. Those are activities that are fun, but this is how you can incorporate learning in them. You can do dodgeball or okwepena. I don't know how to say it in other languages, but I think when I say dodgeball, you can understand it. So it's an activity where you can do it, and upon every shot, when a child is shot, because they have to be shot in the game, the child can spell a word or write a word down instead of just playing, because usually I grew up playing that game, but there was no learning in it. You just play, they shoot you, you get out. But how you can incorporate learning in it is that you can use it that way. When they shoot you, you spell a word, okay, or you read a sentence, activities like that.
Is that possible? Especially, I've seen some of the Chinese and Koreans and some of the Western countries. The children are helped by such production centers like yours. Children to make their own.
Yeah.
You give them with facilities and resources, and they are able to make their own. I don't know how possible that can be at your PlayStation, but where I grew up from, we would make our own toys. And in Uganda as well, people would go into a banana plantation and they would cut the fiber, and they would be able to make their own.
In Bunyoro, we would do the same.
Interesting. I think that cuts across to all regions. I wish we would use the modern ways and the facilities and these technologies to help children make their own. that they don't have to go into the banana plantations because there are none or a few in Kampala, but you can help them. I wish you can think about that same. Sobozi.
Yes, Simon.
In private schools, in government schools, you are talking about advocacy, you're talking about policies. We lost the policies, especially on the facilities, on the guidelines of if I wanted to start a school like today. Don't we have policies that guide us in establishing education institutions in this country? Gone are the days when every school was mandated to have a PlayStation, a play center,
And playground.
a playground. Yes, that was wanted to mention. But if we were to go just a few kilometers from here in our studios, you'd find that out of 1,000 schools or 100 schools, none has a playground. Where did that stop? Where did that policy die from? But also abandoning these play games. We no longer have omweso. During the break you mentioned, we used to have much time to play omweso, jumping the rope and running and sports. But we also would have sports days, sports gara, and which no longer exist. And these sometimes they shaped some of the talents. We have been celebrating the Kipremo and Kipsiro and Kiprotich, and these are the people that would be identified during this. We are learning, we are playing, but also developing talents. Where do those policies die from?
The policies are in place. They are gathering dust somewhere in somebody else's shelf. The challenge is implementation. You see, enforcement is one big elephant in the room across board in terms of governance issues which are challenging us as a country. It cuts across in every area, including the media where we are. The law, but enforcing these laws is the biggest problem. Now, Amon, you have to realize, you know me, I always tell you, I speak the truth. And the listeners outside there know there are two big things which are hindering us from doing right. One is corruption. Corruption at its best. The other, which is also disturbing us from doing what is right, is politics. Now, as long as our politics is not right, I can assure you so many things will not be right. And as long as we do not fight corruption, and we all of us mean that we are not accepting corruption, the rest we can only offer lip service. Because we sit here in these studios, we talk about corruption, we talk very good words, we condemn it, but the moment I stop outside, the traffic policeman stops me, I'll be the first one to pull 10K. And yet I was here on the microphone saying corruption is bad. So we need to revisit. We need to go back into the reset mode. And we ask ourselves, where did we go wrong? How did we find ourselves here? So, whereas the are in place, I will talk about the politics briefly. The government of Uganda does not have the means to provide education to everybody in this country. That is why they liberalized the sector, and there was the birth of private schools. When the private schools were given birth, they are given guidelines on how to operate, which Fajir Mande used to call the minimum standards. And they have the methodology of teaching within those schools as stipulated in law, which I was talking about. But because I have told you I'm discussing the politics, now you need to look at the bigger picture. Which comes faster? Is it better to have a society which knows how to read and write, regardless of whether a school has a playground or it doesn't have one, or you prefer to keep so many people out of school simply because the school cannot start and it doesn't have a playground. Now, you need to look at all these sides. These are the intricacies of management. How do you run a society? So you balance and see. Now, these schools which do not have play fields, they are supposed to have at least gazetted days on when they go to another field to have these children exercise. And then they are able to identify talents, as you are talking about. But the challenge which also comes back, it is the management of these affairs. Because what is the budget for the district inspector of schools? What is the budget for the city inspector of schools? What is the budget for the municipal inspector of schools? Do you have these people on ground to offer support supervision? The budget will not allow. They cannot afford it. They are facilitated adequately to do all this work. And yet the society is yearning for this service. And the entrepreneur takes advantage. He looks at the need of the people and he's able to offer that help to solve the society's problem. Now, we keep on like that, back, forth. So these are governance challenges which we need to address as a society, such that we can do what is expected of us to do.
Mm.
I was listening to what Akida was saying. What she's discussing, basically, this is methodology.
Do you think their system is in any way changing, game changer in our education system?
It is.
Because I've seen so many schools also, especially those who are pre-primary, they have opted for toys in their learning system. You find that they are occupying so much of the children with their toys.
It is not a game changer per se. This is what is expected. You see, learning is supposed to be fun.
Mm.
And this should be across board in all schools. I have told you the challenge is one. Because we do things haphazardly, we do not do what is expected of us to do. We only do what we can afford to do. And we move like that. It is okay. And another day comes and another day goes and it is okay. You sit exams and life goes on. But you see, I was telling you it is methodology, because if you talk about robotics, it is not an invention, because now you are referring to a robot. When we were growing up, we used to have these robots, toys. Ours were brain developed, self-made, not these toys which Amon is referring to. Because I would wake up, go to the banana plantation, remove banana fibers. And out of the banana fibers, I design for the girls a doll, for the boys a ball. And we would play with these dolls and balls. And we would play, act out the role of mommy and act out the role of father. Equally, we would advance to the next level. We would go into the fields, get a tree, cut it, shape it up, get out I don't know what do you call it in English, a chigali.
A wheelbarrow?
Not a, but a replica of a Vespa or a scooter. And then we roll cost on it. Now, you know, we would also get banana fibers, fresh ones. You sit on them and you glide, which in Uganda they call gogoro. Now, what these people are doing is just the improvement of the former to suit the current modern times, whereby you have bits and pieces like fitting a jigsaw. You get the pieces, formulate a toy, and then this child should be able to learn while playing. with this very toy. My only issue is that because of what I have told you, the clogging of the system, at that level, we are looking at development of the finer muscles and also the cognitive abilities. So the assumption should be whatever exercise, whatever activity is being done suits the age. And then we keep advancing so that the brains don't get damaged or they don't get overheated. And then at the next level, then this child is able to do a discovery. And then you expose him or her to a computer. And then the child sits on this computer and does an innovation. Then we'll be able to develop.
Isn't this part of the conditioning or programming that you talked about
No.
in introduction?
No. Now that is discovery. That's not conditioning. That is self-learning. Because you expose materials and hand them in the hands of the learner. Actually, I will say this on air. I'm working out on a project, but it is very expensive. I'm just being too optimistic. I have a few professors. We want to start up a project, a school, so that we can have a school of its own, which is nowhere else. We give materials to the learners to find solutions to society's what? Problems. As long as one has learned how to read and write. It's an expensive venture. It is still work in progress. I don't know. Maybe
has this been in anywhere in the world, or you just want to have this initiative for the first time?
There are somewhere in the world. There are schools in this world which are not known. You need to go and research during your own free time, and you find out the most expensive schools in the world and what curriculum do they offer. Because our Ugandan people are very intelligent, but they are not given the opportunity to explore their potential, and then they are able to show it because they get inhibited. And you also have got to know, beyond us, there is another hovering power which controls this world. So in terms of the knowledge base, what have we got to offer? Do we really expose our children to the right environment for them to grow and become meaningful citizens which are supposed to solve this country's what? Challenges. Because now, how can Kitez collapse, kill our people, when we have graduates managing the affairs of the state and they are seated behind the desk signing on papers using black and white?
They have studied urban planning, physical planning,
absolutely,
engineering.
Yes. So you
management.
Precisely. So you automatically know that there is a missing link somewhere. So we need to rethink our strategies, and we see to it that our education offers solutions to society's what? Problems. Otherwise, we are becoming theoretical and blaming each other, giving excuses, and we keep on like that, as things do not improve as expected.
Akido, yes, do you have, if you can help us share any personal experiences or some of the strategies that have worked well for you, especially in relating with families and relating with children in achieving this kind of balance between fun and learning?
Personally, I would say, because unfortunately for our educational system, I'll talk about the government schools mostly, because that's where I studied from. We have a fixed curriculum that kind of limits creativity. Sorry to say, but some of the activities that we may talk about may not even apply for the child, or the child may not be able to apply them because of the educational system and the syllabus, though it has currently changed. But I'm talking about these people in the past who have been following the old syllabus that has been fixed. We are in Uganda today, where some teachers actually are not doing it out of passion, but it's what is available. So there's no passion. So for me personally, in incorporating fun with learning, I usually urge passion first. Love what you're doing. And as for you, the child or the children, you may be wanting to be a doctor or something, and then mommy and daddy are saying be this. So you're actually not enjoying what you're studying. You're not enjoying what you're doing. So me now, I would speak personally to the children right now that sometimes it's not about what you want. It's about the status quo, the reality of your family, the reality of yourself, that you must be flexible and willing to change to the different strategies and different ideas in place. So if I'm talking about fun, because first of all you must love what you're doing. Mr. Godfrey here at the start said or mentioned fun learning and fun teaching. You as a teacher teaching the children must be able to love what you're doing, so you can give out the same energy to the child to make them love. Personally, I used to hate mathematics in school, but I hated it not because of me, but I hated it because of the teacher always caning me and shouting at me. I was a slow learner in mathematics, good at English, but mathematics was a problem. So I came to hate the subject because of the teacher. So sometimes the teacher affects the way the child reciprocates the learning or the topics being taught. So in the first place, I advise the children to develop interest. If you don't have the interest in what you're doing, try to get it. Get inspirations. Look at a friend who is doing well in the same line of education. Get inspirations and know what you want. Try to discover what you want in life. I would say basically that, because it's the interest that will make you do everything to have the fun and get to the root of the topic and understand, while also enjoying it. So
our dear parents, teachers, or any educationists outside there, or anyone who would love to comment or share a perspective or concern in this edition, we're asking ourselves, what can we do to balance fun and learning during school holidays, even or at school, and how best can we engage our learners? What do you think needs to be done to make sure that our children at home are safe, but also have plenty time to play, but also to learn? How best can we engage them? What are some of the activities they can do? And you can share that perspective on 776-511-426 or send your messages on 0701 24 26 27, 0701 24 26 47, or 0776-511-426. I'm picking your calls after this very break. I'm returning just in a bit, but before I go for a break, I would love also to put this to you as a teacher. Suppose, why do you have to give homework to children well knowing that you have set them for a holiday? You expect them to relax. This is their limited time they have to relax, at least from the 90 days they have been at school. You have given them 1 week or 2 weeks, and still you pamper them with homework to be done at school.
Edmund, taking a holiday is a powerful antidote to stress, and it promotes the mental well-being. And this holiday is for all of us. Little wonder. That's why you are saying after this presentation. We are
but
going
what is
for a
that you are
commercial
giving
break.
to the children to do at home that you have not provided at school?
I'm coming to what you asked me because I wanted you to understand. Now, the children, what they carry home, I have told you, the system is driving us to pass what? Exams. Because the focus is on memory, memorization, knowledge. Can we remember? But of course, with the new curriculum now in the lower secondary, which was supposed to be so in the primary, because the thematic curriculum exactly meant that, because it was supposed to feed into this current curriculum now, which is being practiced in the secondary school. The children are supposed to do a discovery, because you see, when you go home for a break, you are supposed to rejuvenate, but it doesn't mean that you forget about school, because learning is lifelong. So we are talking about lifelong learning. So the holiday I give you to go with at home should be able to help you to give me feedback on what you learned while you were at home, and we share that experience when you come back to where? To school. Don't give the child the homework of what you taught in class, and the child starts doing school work while at home. Let the child give you what he has learned from home, and you share experience with others at school, so that you can grow your scope, and the other children share from each other, because each one has a different learning experience from where they took their holiday. So that is the reason why we give this homework. But I will make an apology because I am a teacher, that we are indeed very sorry that we do not give the real homework which the children should be having to present back at school, but instead we extend classroom exercise for the subject which I was teaching to go with at home.
Interesting. I'm taking a very short break and I'm coming back in just a bit. Call us after the very break. We're only taking 1 minute break on 776-511-426. What do you think needs to be done to make sure that our children really play but also learn? How can we engage them during school holidays? What schools would need to do? What should we, the parents, do? And what should children do? I am coming back in just a bit. I pray don't go away. I'm coming back.
This is Ground Zero Season 2. Stay tuned. We shall be right back.
Independent sound.
UBC has 11 sister radio stations spread throughout the country to educate, inform, and entertain. Tune in to UBC Radio FM 98, your national radio station, Magic 100, where sports and music is our life. 87.5 Star FM in Uganda. 97.4 UBC West covering Western Uganda. 102 Mega FM in Gulu. 97 FM Butebo Radio in Eastern Uganda. 107.0 Buduli FM. 100.5 Ngea FM in Kasese, 98.0 West Nile FM in Arua, Total Ray Radio FM 90 in Karamoja, and 93.0 Voice of Mundbujo. Now you're covered in your local language.
UBC Radios, inspiring Uganda.
At UBC Radio, all our radio network across the country is committed to inform, entertain, educate, and guide for national transformation.
Our own radio, UBC, should set its own example. Leka bano abatafa ku bantu baffe bagumaza ndowooza muganda hito kugumaza to divert people. Let our own UBC bring programs to educate the people so that abagala kugumaza babeereyo bagumaza naye naffe they can advise, guide. And people in time will judge the one who is their friend and who is just using them.
Tune into UBC Radios for credible socio-economic programs. UBC, inspiring Uganda. Don't miss UBC Radio Ground Zero every Saturday from 10 a.m. to 12 p.m. We host credible and relevant guests to discuss pertinent issues of national importance aimed at addressing people's concerns.
As a country, if we don't fight this vice of corruption seriously and with honest opinion without any bias, things will not be good for us.
UBC Radio Ground Zero, right here on UBC Radio.
UBC, ensure that the information you give out is factual but also objective, balanced, and complies with the legal and policy requirements for the media.
Ground Zero program is always live, loud and clear, every Saturday from 10 a.m. to 12 p.m. on UBC Radio, Butebo FM, West Nile FM, and Magic 100 FM, and live stream on YouTube. You can also listen to the repeated broadcast of UBC Ground Zero every Sunday from 3 p.m. to 5 p.m. UBC Radio, inspiring Uganda.
24/7. Listen to UBC radio shows right here,
Uganda
right
works
now.
towards Vision 2040, UBC Radio is dedicated to the development of Uganda. Join us every day for transformative programs in English, Swahili, and Luo. This is UBC Radio.
Your voice talk show.
The biggest concern now is the quality of education. That is what is bothering us so much.
Addressing Uganda's governance issues.
Incidentally, there is now a new trend. There is more land wrangles in the families than Vivanja land title holders.
Monday to Friday at 7 p.m.
With this integration of East African community, we must work hard so that we benefit.
Your voice talk show only on UBC Radio, inspiring Uganda.
Every Saturday, UBC Radio broadcasts the Information Hub, your one-stop dial radio show. Join us to learn and know more information about innovations, research, and developments. The Information Hub, knowledge is power, on UBC Radio, inspiring Uganda.
Welcome back. Ground Zero Season 2 continues.
Welcome. Short break, our dear listener from the other side of radio. We can't take that for granted. That's why we're always here, because we know that you are always there. And my name, I do have a privilege and honor to have Godfrey Obsobozi, who is the national chairperson, Coalition of Uganda Private School Teachers Association, and we also have Win Akido, who is the certified children's play best teacher coming from Global Fund for Children. My line is open. 776-511-426 is the number you can call. 0776-511-426 is the number you can call, and send your messages on the same 0706-2427-47. UBC Ground Zero.
Good morning and good morning to other guests.
A very good morning to you.
Yuma is calling from Butebo here.
All right.
We appreciate the recognition of our quality of education today. The current generation, when you compare the early 2000 to 2005, subjects were all not very much like currently, but the impact, when you see a child can operate smartphone, can open a laptop, that tells you there is a knowledge with that child. But our time there long ago, this Capensa phone was even a tug of war. So there we give them congratulations for that. Two, during holidays, the home assignment given to the children, for me, I don't see it bad, except the planning of which time, at what time does this child deserve to check into her homework, and that was under the guidance of the parents. And we have seen sometimes teachers, they have done their part when children they were at school, knowing that during holidays, let the children, the parents to take over. But you'll find these parents, they are overloading these children with domestic work. From your page there, you go and you'll see at least one or two, they are carrying buckets of eggs. They have to move, they have to work to bring some income to the family. And that one, I condemn that. Okay, let it be maybe twice in a week. That one is reasonable. But you find some homes, they have made children to do the labor of bringing income during holidays, which is not good. When school resumes, the homework which was given to this child, we'll find that there are so many blank spaces. The child was not having enough time. At the end of the day, the result will become poor. So this one, the blame, I take it to the parents. Two, domestic violence. Domestic violence is at a rise. And it has not left children having their freedom. A child will not be happy when seeing either father or mother is crying. That one affects the education of a child. It affects even the growth emotionally, socially, academically.
All right.
So now what can we do best to make sure our children are the benefit of our nation for tomorrow? Chairman LC1 have to come to engage the community policies. There are some matters which, when chairman is involved, then it can go ahead to children via schooling and maybe some part of financial for the support of the family. We don't condemn children to not work to help the parents. They have to work, but parents have to know at what time my child is supposed to be concentrating in his or her books. So the teachers this time around, congratulations. Yeah, I congratulate them, and their time is coming when school is resuming. That's when I will also request the school administrators. Thank you so much.
Welcome, Juma. 776-511-426. Share your perspective, concern, or comment there. Some messages coming in. I would love to start with I am a head teacher in Soroti here, and that is Jan Atim. We give home to keep children updated because you'd find that after holidays, learners have forgotten everything and then we need to start afresh. But when we give them homeworks, they keep on track. Okay, that is a teacher right in Soroti there. Tony Sewankambo says Busobozi needs to know that this is Uganda, good policies on paper, but zero on practice and implementation. Okay, that is Tony Sewankambo. UBC Ground Zero.
Hello, good morning.
A very good morning to you. Your name and where you're calling us from?
This is Mike calling from Boate.
Okay.
Thank you for the program.
Most welcome, sir.
Yeah, so now the only thing I wanted to add on top of our teachers plus our colleagues, Juma, it is good when they got the holiday. Now the parents, they have to take care of them very carefully. This is the whatever I want to tell. So as they are back home, we have not to see them. We have to be on them. We see what they can do for their future, reading the books. Sometimes they have to give them some free little time to relax a bit also, but they have to know at what time. Because now they are at home, some parents, they will see, good enough, they got the holiday, we can start sending them over, they go and see the aunties, what. Now you find the rest, they get pregnant from that time, and we have to take care of them as they are now back home. For the boys, they can go and play football, but they have to know at what time they have to help their parents and do other activities to their parents. But the only thing, as now candidate, their term is finished. Now this holiday is going to finish their term as what I know. So now we only just pray to them very hard. Okay. So not only teacher. So to be a teacher, first of all, parents, we are also teacher to add more on the one teacher they are teaching from there. So that their result it can be a good result. Thank you for the program.
Welcome. 776-511-426 is the number you can call. ABC Radio. Okay, I've lost the caller. 776-511-426. Well, also Jimmy says we have borrowed a lot from the Western world. We need our children to learn and speak good English and then forget our own. We have lost the touch of the African child. We have lost our cultures, which we used to teach our children during the school holidays. Now children don't know our favorite foods. They don't know our cultural values. And when they come in the holidays, they want to engage in PlayStations, computers, and phones. That's where they are being addicted and driven to. I agree with Sozi. This is programming of children and the future, and I don't see their future. Okay, that is Jim from Bogolobi. Someone is called Michael Magaro is saying that children at home are more busy and engaged like they were at school, and you wonder why these teachers give them holidays, yet they are occupying them even at home. You find a kid is panicking that he has not done homework and is going to be punished or being laughed at too in class. Someone says when we don't engage these children during holidays, they end up in non-productive activities and behaviors. I agree with engaging them with homework. Perhaps it can keep them busy because I cannot afford to have my only daughter being pregnant before she finishes even O level. Okay, that is Magaro there. Keep your messages coming through on 0701 24 26 47 or call us on 776 511 426. Margaret, you're listening in from Hoima, and it says homework should target local and home-based activities, not classroom. Can they ask them if they know how to cook, to peel matoke, and also wash utensils? You can find that even a graduate from university doesn't know how to cook or wash utensils. What kind of education is this? We used to learn a lot while at home than we learnt a lot from schools. That is Margaret listening in from Hoima. And lastly on this, someone says that home education should not be undermined. We are all products of the same. We learnt a lot, like bathing ourselves, dressing ourselves, and so many others. So non-formal education is attained at school, and we offer that at, cheaply and freely. Yet these teachers want to take that off. That would be taking our values as the African people. That's why you see most of girls go naked, because they didn't get that during the homework. I think homework or home holidays. Ground Zero.
Ground Zero. Yeah, you're speaking to Dennis from Arua.
From?
Arua.
All right, you're clear.
Otherwise, I'm so glad with all the presenters.
Thank you.
I'm very happy for the chairman from private sector.
Okay.
I'm trying to show my gratitude towards my primary school. So now my kid, I'm not happy of his result.
You give credit to your former schools, but you can't give credit to the schools that are taking on your children.
Right now, I'm not happy.
Why?
There's nothing like homework. The kids have come back to school. And my kid got just four in SST, which is not good. So I'm happy. I've learned a lot from your people.
Okay.
I'm going to try to teach them how to do things.
Okay.
So thank you for the program.
Welcome. Mubarak from Kabasanda. The learning curriculum should be changed also in primary level, such that learners can utilize local materials to gain more experience in their level, just like in secondary schools. That is Mubarak from Kabasanda. Emma says, Emma from Mbale district, I say that holidays should stop in order for children to boost their minds. This one wants all children to be in school throughout. I'll go back to the studios of UBC for my guest to answer some of these concerns. So, Ozzy?
Thank you so much.
Others are complaining about homework, while others are they want homework.
Yes, and thank you so much to our listeners outside there. I have listened attentively, and I have taken note, especially the first caller, Juma. Juma talked about child labor and domestic violence. So Juma needs to look at this in social context, because as my fellow panelists here discussed, some children are paying school fees on their own. So if they are paying school fees on their own, they can only work during the holidays, such that they are able to survive. But we need to look at the bigger picture. How many are they? Because the first caller was talking about, Juma, is that the parents are sending these children to earn a living for and on their behalf. Now, that is child abuse, because child labor. And these children should not be involved in child labor. Yes, they can help in domestic chores. Yes, they can help in the farmyard. Yes, they can help in the gardens. Yes, they can help in picking coffee, but they shouldn't be involved in generating money for the family, for you as a person, because that becomes child labor. They should be able to generate wealth for the family, but not to make money for you. You send the child to go and sell menvu to bring back money back home. Send the child to go and sell pancake to bring back the money home. No. That is wrong. That is child labor. Now, he talked about domestic violence. Yeah, on a bigger scale, we need to zero down on the cause. Usually, it is poverty, because communication breaks down, and then what happens is fighting for space. Now, once the space becomes narrower, you start exchanging, you beat each other, you harm each other, and the children are watching, and they get affected. So let us work to improve our household income, to fight poverty at household level. If we do that, even this domestic violence will continuously reduce. I'm so disappointed with Tony. Tony is giving an affirmation that, my dear Mr. Absobozi, this is Uganda. What a statement. This is Uganda, where things are on paper and they are never implemented. This is not acceptable. Please let us desist from continuing with this talk of this is Uganda. Who says that in Uganda things should be done right and we get away with it? No. Let us do right, and can we redeem ourselves? Can we do what is right, and can we do what is expected of us to do? And can we say no to wrong, and we continue doing right, because we are killing our society? So let us do right. If we are in school as teachers, let us teach. If we are in school as learners, let us attend to lessons. Let us pay heed to instructions. If we are in offices, let us execute our mandate without fear or favor. Wherever you are, please let us do our part. For you as an individual who is listening to me, you do right. Don't copy what somebody is doing which is wrong. And
as long as others are doing, I have to do.
No. Even if you stand alone, as long as you are doing right, you should never get tired. Otherwise, that is why Amon calls me to come here in the studio. And I come here on voluntary basis. I don't come here to be paid. I'm only doing a national service. And even when we go out there, we want other good people. The country has not run short of good people. This is just a challenge. The generation will change. These bad people will disappear, and we shall have good people all across, and we shall be up and running. We shouldn't accept and say, this is Uganda. Who says? No, kuna you. No, we can't allow that. Now, Jimmy in Bugolobi says, there is a loss of touch with Africanity. And it is true, because we have lost identity. Now, when we go to the higher level, beyond this local which we are in, now there is the concept of the global citizen, the global citizenship concept, where people no longer care about being who you are in terms of identity. So there is also that aspect which is coming in, and it is taking a toll on us. But if you cannot know who you are, then there are high chances you may also not know what you are doing. So let us first of all identify ourselves, who are we, and then we shall be able to do what is expected of us to do.
Okay.
Now, lastly, Margaret talked very well, Margaret from Hoima. He said they learned a lot from home. And he's talking about with the other callers and the others who sent messages in terms of engagement, where he talked about the homework. Yes, because this homework, as you hear the word, it has to be homework. But you do not have to confine your child on a chair to sit and write essays to answer questions 1 to 100 simply because you don't want your child to get spoiled by the bad neighbor or by the bad environment in the village where he or she is going to live. It is your responsibility and duty as a parent to parent this child, because after all, you do not, that's the condition in which I was talking about. You can't condition this child in which society this child is going to live. So you should be able to parent your child, and the child knows this is bad, this is right, and how do I solve this. For example, if you have a girl, you are fearing this girl to get pregnant, teach your child what it takes to become pregnant. How do you avoid pregnancy? But you don't teach your child how to avoid men, because if for you have a man. That's why you produced this child. So you need to balance the intricacies of society. So do not say that you're going to engage these children and you confine them. No. So you teach them so that they are able to learn from the home, which Margaret was talking about. Learn how to peer, learn how to dress, learn societal manners. How do you greet? How do you say thank you? Courtesy. Because if you are in a home, what manners do you learn from a home? Are you learning how to quarrel with each other? Or are you learning on how to welcome visitors into the home? So it is a bit complex, but we can juggle until we make sure that we bring out real meaningful education for our child, both from home and while in school.
Interesting. I'll bring you Okido.
Thank you so much. Now, for me, I'm going to start with a sensitive part for me, the part of domestic violence. To my parents, children, and teachers in the villages, because here we have 3 parties. We have the teacher, the parent at home, and the child himself or herself. What is each person's role? The teacher should focus on their role, which is teaching. The parent should provide an environment that is conducive for the children, and also do their responsibilities of school fees catering. Like my fellow panelist here, Mr. Msobo, said, the parents should pay the tuition and provide. It's not a child to go and work for you to be provided for. That is an exchange of roles and responsibilities. Then what is your role as a child is to study and also help at home. Which brings me back to the point I think the first parents talked about, of the work being done during holidays instead of fun. Like I said in the beginning, some children pay for themselves tuition. Myself, I paid tuition for myself at some point. And I happened to study in the village for a period of 1 year. But my work was not even during holidays alone, even during school days in the village. Now I'm talking about the village schools. You had to first wake up very early, do garden work before you go to school. That is an exchange of roles, because the child is supposed to be in school, but is actually doing the work from home instead of using the time to be in school. For me, it affected my education so much, and I would like to condemn that, especially in the villages. It's most common and rampant there. So back to the holiday, because that's our major point of focus today. So the holiday should be separated from work. If it is work, it should be related to home duties, cooking, sweeping, and all that. And then I'm now still talking to the children, because my experience was with a stepmom who wasn't so kind to me. Some children are lucky enough to have step-parents who care about their education, but my own was a negative experience. I didn't like it at all. She always stopped me from studying, even when in holidays. So to you as a child, I'm not encouraging disobedience, not that. But you as a child, this is why you need to come in and stand for your right to education and a right to your future. When you're stormed with work in holidays and you know it's not for the right reason, you feel it, because we are humans who can feel. If you've done your chores, the home chores well, and they're still storming you with work, and you know you have holiday work as well, stand for yourself and create that time for yourself. It's your future. It's not your stepmother's future. It's not your teacher's future. It's your own future. There are sacrifices as a child you must be able to make. And this still goes back to what I said at the beginning. The interest matters. What are your goals as a child? So as all this is coming in, the pressure from school is in, the pressure from home is in, you must be able to contain it. Have that balance and be like, no, it's my future. Yes, mommy is saying do this, daddy is saying do this, but what is best for myself as well? You must have that that capability to stand for yourself. Don't disobey, do what they say. But in a situation where it's becoming too much and it's affecting your work, you must be in a position to talk to your parents and be like, mommy, no, daddy, no. I need time for my books. I need time for homework. And if it's a home like my own in the village where I grew up from for that period of time, where you're not listened to, because there are homes like that where you're not listened to, you must find a way as a child.
Okay.
Yes.
Interesting. Some messages still coming in. Abbas says we have changed roles. Kids work during holidays to generate some income, which is supposed to be the role for parents. I think that is why even parents do homework for their children. This world has made us change roles. Someone says no time to play. Kids wake up at 5 a.m. and get home late. They have their homework. They sleep late. The pressure is too much on our children. I used to go to school and 8 a.m. I would be in class. We studied 2 hours, and 10 a.m. we are out, play for 1 hour until 11 a.m. Would go for classes for more 2 hours, then break off for lunch from 1 p.m. to 2 p.m. that then go for 2 hours more, and then break off from 4 p.m. That's how school ended. We never used to have this daily homework, and we performed much better. What changed? Why do kids have to be put on this pressure? This is indeed programming, as was put it. We need to change, and those who are advocating, they need really to change this. This is too much for 6 to 10 years child. All right, I go back to you, Sobos, again on a nurturing of children, on what parents now need to do. Let's go to the way forward, and then we channel out some of the solutions to this. Do you think it is right really to wake up a 4 years child at 4 a.m., get ready on the bus? They are dozing in the bus. They reach at school when they are already tired, over-engaged, no time for break, no physical education, nothing. They go back home. They don't have even time to eat, but all they are thinking about learning, and learning. No fun, no time for themselves, no time to know their parents. They have no time to even associate with some of the relatives. That's why we have even opted for some of the parties to introduce our children to some of their relatives. But gone are the days when we used to engage with our family members, friends, during the school holidays.
Thank you so much.
Your way forward.
We are chatting out a way forward on this, but specifically as guided by your so many questions, a cocktail of them. We need also to know, why do we have nursery? You see, the word nursery simply means preparation. You know, you are not like you have a nursery bed. In a nursery bed, you don't have plants. Yes, they are plants, but we call them seedlings. So when you transfer them, they change from being seedlings to plants. So same concept applies with the school system. This child who you are taking to a nursery school to wake up at 4 o'clock in the morning, and the child is rotating 10-15 kilometers from home before going to school to catch up with the 7:30 o'clock lesson, you are damaging the mental ability of this young soul. Because this nursery child is not yet 6 years of age. Because psychologists tell it is at age 6 when one qualifies to go to school in primary. During those days, they used to get a hand and they would lift it across your head to see if you are able to touch your ear on the left side. Today, actually, as she said, if we were on TV, I would demonstrate. Now, age 3, you are taking the child to school to be in baby class. 1 year later, goes to middle class. And then top at age 5. To go P1. Actually, they begin P1 at age 5. It wouldn't be a bad idea, but what orientation is this child getting within the pre-primary section? You see, as we earlier on discussed, the challenges are quite enormous in our education sector, and we are like reaching crossroads. We don't know who is going to come to our rescue. Each one of us seems to be either complaining or lamenting, but the solution givers are either very few or they are not there at all. Children are going to nursery to be taught, and they learn how to read, they learn how to write, and even compose. So many complicated things in a nursery school. You see, a nursery school is supposed to be an orientation stage, such that this child, one, gets to associate with others, to know that beyond home, seeing daddy, mommy, sister, brother, there is the other side of life. You meet another group where there are so many people, and where you go, there are orders. They tell you to follow strict given instructions. Then, the activities to perform. These activities are meant to develop, one, their cognitive abilities. Because as I have told you now, this child is able to tell the difference between yellow and red. So you put here these colors, you mix them up, and the child is able to sort out. And then he says, oh, okay, says, oh, so these ones I can group them in this side. Then that's why you see they give them papers to tear, such that the finer muscles are able to develop. Now you are preparing this child to develop the finer muscles of these fingers, such that the child will be in a position to hold a pencil or a pen to write. But if you start at this level, you will cause deformity in the child's hands, because the muscles are still very weak. They can't hold that pen, and that is why the handwriting goes on getting spoiled. And consequently, you may realize that in the future, this child may develop paralysis, because these body systems got affected at that age. And even the ability to reason dwindles, because the retention span goes on getting lost, because you are loading the child with too much immaterial at that level, because they don't make meaning. So this child at this level is supposed to do more of playing than doing real serious reading and writing, so that the child gets to learn by playing. But what do we do? This is the system we are running, and I'm saying the solution finders are really very few. But they know what to do. But the support vision is almost zero, and I don't want to say people do supervise, but when they go there, some inspectors remain in their vehicles, and the head teachers come running. They give the inspector a visitor's book to sign, and then they say, thank you, sir, thank you, madam, for coming. It is your fuel in a khaki envelope, and the beautiful lady, the handsome gentleman drives away and goes. And
supervision is done.
And supervision is done. And and that's where Tony is saying, and this is Uganda. No, but we can't keep like this, because at the end of the day, this is our country and this is our society. So if you are going to have a better school system, because it is the school that defines the quality citizenship of any given country. If we make our education not right, then be rest assured all the rest are going to be the way they were.
Best practices to engage our children during school holidays?
Yes, we have to engage our children during school holidays. It is good for the children to come home.
Where should we take them?
Taking them where? You see, Amon, don't speak like an urbanite. We're on a national broadcaster. Let us look at these things in real perspective. One, if we're Africans, we live an extended family. Does your child know your neighbor? Now I'm talking to the urbanites. People into their gates, they lock immediately, and even they can't welcome a visitor. They only stand on a stool and peep. Now we have smartphones.
Who are you? What do you want? How can we help you?
That one will not even do that. That child will go to the askari and say, Askari, go and talk to somebody who's at the gate. And the child will go back on a smartphone or will sit on TV and change using a remote. That's it. Now, back to our villages. In the rural schools, when they come back home during the holidays, engage these children to be part and parcel of what you do. If it is garden time, you do not have to stress this child with a lot of coverage in terms of weeding. Give him or her a small portion such that you work together and the child is able to see what you are doing. If it is coffee picking, you don't have to pick a whole basket of coffee. But let this child participate. If it is cattle grazing, let the child get a grazing stick and is able to move with the cows. If it is milking, so that he is involved. And then after, give him 1 hour or give her 1 hour to sit and do the other exercise book work which was given. After all, holiday work. He doesn't have to concentrate on the book and stay there simply because you don't want the neighbor to know that the children came back for holiday. So we needed to have to conceptualize these things, and we know that these children have a future. Tomorrow to live where you are not, and they will make independent decisions. They can't be over dependent on you. As you know, Harmony, today, children, in quotes, they are age 25, they are living in their father's and mother's house. The man is age 26.
A man is living with a man inside, the father.
Yes.
Isn't
I mean,
is an adult, but
he's an
still
adult,
behaving
but
like
still
a child.
behaving like a child. And here the mom is saying, my boy. But what kind of adult man are you nurturing in this human being? So we need to contextualize this, and this can only come out within the education school system. So if we do our work well, we shall have better citizens.
Thank you so much, Akido. Best practices, way forward, what should be the solutions to these many challenges that we have discussed?
First of all, I would like to start with a point I don't want to forget about what he said. About nursery, I skipped nursery. All in the name of Mugezi Nyo, like she's too wise. Let us promote her. I have a problem with that. Teachers listening, when you make a child skip a level to another level
because she is bright or he is
yes,
bright,
you deprive the child of that right, the rights they were supposed to enjoy in that level that they have skipped. Now, a child cannot decide for themselves because they are still young. It is you to decide for them. So I'm condemning that and calling upon teachers doing that to please stop it. Fine, she's wise, he's wise, but let him or her experience what they're supposed to experience at the right time, in the right place. Back to what they're supposed to do during holidays, or what I encourage children to do during holidays. I encourage a sectioned series of activities, like my colleague here said, fellow panelists. Let them have home duties, but also, at our production hub at Zambia community, we have skilling sessions for children. Even this holiday, we are having skilling sessions where we call different families to skill them in different activities, like crafts making and furniture making. We do school furniture, home furniture. So what I'm saying is that you can have your child, especially for the older ages, I'm talking about 15 years and above now, because we have secondary also for holidays, primary, leave out nursery for now. We are trying to bring up responsible citizens of the country who are supposed to grow up knowing work is part of life. So while not at school, identify your child's pleasure or what they love doing, because we have tailored activities that you can also incorporate wherever you're found or located. You can also do this yourself as a parent. Teach your child how to make different things in life that can help them sustain themselves while not in school, because apparently we live in a country where even papers sometimes don't matter. I've seen people walk into our office. I'm not a graduate, but I'm in a place where a graduate would love to be, and they find me in office with their papers, and I don't have the papers, but I'm working. Sometimes I even do more than what the graduates are able to do.
Okay.
So basically,
your
holiday,
last comment?
Yes. My last comment.
Final remarks.
Final remarks. I would like to call upon parents, guardians, caretakers to personalize the education of the children they are handling. It may be your child, it may not be your real child, but try to prioritize it. The time they're supposed to spend with books should be given to books. The time they're supposed to spend during work home duties should be allocated rightly. None should overlap the other. Try to create a balance. And then back to the teachers also in school. Please don't frustrate the students. Don't frustrate the children. Some teachers, you go off board, and then towards the end of the term you want to pump the child because you want to finish your duties that you were meant to do before. Do your things at the right time, in the right place, so the child also has time to do their other things at home. Thank you.
All
A
right.
lot has been said.
Thank you so very much. Godfrey Sozi, your final.
Thank you so much, UBC, for the opportunity given to me to share my thoughts with the wider public. Dear listeners outside there, as we conclude this program, if you are a teacher, please teach. If you are a parent, please parent your child. We need a better country called Uganda. And each one of us has a responsibility and a duty to do what is right for the common good. Don't wait for somebody else to do for you. Do your part. If each one of us do our part, then we shall all have done what is expected of us to do, and we shall have a better country. As we teach these children, remember, they are not blank. They also have some information that they have in their heads. They also have some knowledge that they also have. Allow them to share. don't dominate, don't domineer. Amon, as we get out of here, this is an era of artificial intelligence. So many things are changing very fast because we are calling this one the 21st century. If you are a teacher and you still want to think as we used to think when we were learning how to teach,
and teaching like we used to,
and teaching like how we were taught, I'm afraid things have changed. It doesn't work that way. We have to innovate. We have to rethink our strategies such that teaching is fun and it makes meaning. As we let our children think, to nurture them to be better citizens, to solve challenges of society, other than creating challenges to society. Do you know what it means to have school, not school-going age, but schooled children? Because now the assumption is you have dropped out of school. So that means you have been in school. Now, to have people who are in school to be the society, this is what we are becoming. You saw the other day, I listened to a song, and these children had composed a song, Abama Suti. People who are putting on suits now, they were being revered, given honors, because they would be looked up to as solution finders. But now they are the ones who are creating what? Problems for us. Now we need to go back to the drawing board. As teachers, can we inculcate the requisite standards, the integrity of us as the teachers? Can it reflect in the children that we look up to, we look after, so that the children can be able to look up to us? Because what happens, those children imitate us. What you are is what they become. And that is why the notion goes, the nation is because we are. So if we do not do what is right as teachers, rest assured the nation will go ziggy-zaga.
Okay.
Asante sana.
Thank you so much, Godfrey Busozi. Is the National Chairperson Coalition of Uganda Private School Teachers Association, and it was also a privilege having you win Akido, Certified Children's Play Best Teacher from our Global Fund for Children. That brings us to the end of our discussion and on balancing fun and learning during school holidays. A big thank you to all our guests there for making time to come through, and to our listener and those who sent in your messages and those who called in. But the message that I cannot forget to read as we wrap up our discussion is Komakech. Komakech said, we played Mama and Tata and appreciated the value of family at that young age. But if you see what kids are occupied with these days is worrying. The terror movies, and no wonder they become violent when they grow up. Who is to blame? On this, we are destroying our own children and the generations to come. That brings us to the end of our discussion today. We have explored so many strategies and insights on how we can make holiday makers both enjoyable and educational, and we can play all our roles as parents, as teachers, and as children. Keep tuned to UBC radio stations, and more programs are coming your way. I wish you all the best till next Saturday with another version of UBC Ground Zero. Till next time, same stations. I'm Pairi Amon of Tech. For God and my country, allow me to sign out.
That was Ground Zero Season 2, a production of Uganda Broadcasting Corporation, UBC, inspiring Uganda. It's hot.
That's it. We didn't know exactly what the problem was on the ground. There is no pretending about the effect of this thing. There's no pretending about it. Nobody should. It's a problem.
It's balanced.
This is not the stage at which you start planning to tax a commodity like coffee, especially from down there.
It's intellectually engaging.
The Constitution provides that the land must be registered under the customer tenure system, which is one of those that's recognized by the Constitution.
Ground Zero Season 2, live and syndicated on your public and national broadcaster, UBC, inspiring Uganda.
Don't miss UBC Radio Ground Zero every Saturday from 10 a.m. to 12 p.m. We host credible and relevant guests to discuss pertinent issues of national importance aimed at addressing people's concerns.
As a country, if we don't fight this vice of corruption seriously and with honest opinion without any bias, things will not be good for us.
UBC Radio Ground Zero, right here on UBC Radio.
UBC, ensure that the information you give out is factual but also objective, balanced, and complies with the legal and policy requirements for the media.
Ground Zero program is always live, loud and clear, every Saturday from 10 a.m. to 12 p.m. on UBC Radio, Butebo FM, West Nile FM, and Magic 100 FM, and live stream on YouTube. You can also listen to the repeated broadcasts of UBC Ground Zero every Sunday from 3 p.m. to 5 p.m. UBC Radio, inspiring Uganda.
This is UBC Radio. Tune in for news.
At UBC Radio, we bring you Uganda's latest news and information.
Focus on Parliament.
What we need to do, the Prime Minister must give us the position before we finalize with the budgeting process.
Enjoy sports. The environment. Politics.
The mission we have is socio-economic transformation.
Health. Entertainment. Updates in education. On the farm. Keep tuned into UBC Radio. Inspiring Uganda.
Independent sound.
UBC has 11 sister radio stations spread throughout the country to educate, inform, and entertain. Tune in to UBC Radio FM 98, your national radio station, Magic 100, where sports and music is our life. 87.5 Star FM in Uganda. 97.4 UBC West covering Western Uganda. 102 Mega FM in Gulu. 97 FM Butebo Radio in Eastern Uganda. 107.0 Buduri FM. 100.5 Ngea FM in Kasese, 98.0 West Nile FM in Arua, Totore Radio FM 90 in Karamoja, and 93.0 Voice of Mundbujo. Now you're covered in your local language.
UBC Radios, inspiring Uganda.